Hey everyone, welcome to Fighting Over the Card Catalog, a snarky look back on young adult novels of the 80s and 90s. I'm Jess.
I'm Steven, and I'm here to make my wife happy.
We're taking a journey to find out how many terrible and hopefully some not so terrible books from my youth I can get my husband to read before he reconsiders this whole marriage. Hi.
Yo, woman.
Yo, man. Wow. Okay. Coming out strong.
What's up? Hey, I don't have glass in my foot anymore.
Hey, you don't have glass in your foot anymore. Yeah, tell that story real quick.
So, like 2 months ago, I stepped on a piece of glass and tried to pull it out with tweezers. Yeah, it was like a glass splinter, and had no idea how much was in there. So I, grabbed some tweezers, tried to pull it out. I guess I broke the head piece off because I couldn't tell if it was still in there or not, and I walked on it for 2 months. And
I couldn't tell. I looked at it, but I think I broke the tip off. That's what she said. Sorry.
So about 2 weeks ago, I started feeling like my foot was swelling. I didn't know if it was my ankle or what. And last week, I could not put any pressure on my foot at all.
No, it looked like you were mocking me walking around.
I literally walked around on my tiptoe, no matter where I was. At home, at work. Yeah, yeah, it was not good.
It's not funny.
My calf was so sore. It was just cramping for me sitting down because it was so sore. Is it better now? Walking. So I went to the emergency room Friday.
Yeah, you took the whole day off.
At the VA. So it's like an hour and 15 minutes to drive there. Sat in the ER for about 30 minutes. That was actually pretty good. And then I sat in the room for like 30 minutes, and the lady came in and asked me about it and said, let me see it. And so I took my shoe off, and I had a little red mark like pointing to it to make sure.
Yeah, because you looked at it real hard the night before and made that mark. Yeah.
And the night before, there was actually a little piece of it that was sticking out, and I was contemplating grabbing the tweezers again.
I was like,
but
should I go get them? But you're like, no.
I didn't want to break it off again. So, I didn't know how much of it was still in there. And so I'm looking, and it's not sticking out anymore. And I start touching it, and it didn't feel anything. And the night before, I couldn't touch it.
Right.
And it was just too painful to touch. And so I guess sometime in the middle of the night, it had worked itself out. And, yeah.
2 months of pain for no doctor intervention except for trying to look at it.
So then I stopped by the Plano VA and had them schedule an appointment for my blood work, and I can get them to talk about my knee and about my wrist.
Right.
Because my moneymaker is hurting. My moneymaker
Your wrist.
Being my wrist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I type or click 8 to 10 hours a day. And it's not good to have it bad. So anyway.
I guess it's better than having your dick out 8 to 10 hours a day.
Sure.
Being a real moneymaker. Although, you know what? If you wanted to do that, I would support you. I'm not going to shame you. So anyway, let's go from talking about your dick to 12-year-old girls, yeah?
You were talking about my dick. I never said anything about my dick.
True. But now you did. So, okay. So this week we read Palm Beach Prep number 1.
Was it number 1?
Well, look at the book.
Because
called Lonely Heart. I know, but look at the front.
Okay.
We'll get into it in a minute. There's a whole thing.
Oh, it says 1.
And on the spine, there's a whole thing. I know what it says in the back.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead and read it, and then we'll get into that.
All right.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Nicole's life is just fine. She likes being an only child, and even if her parents are divorced, well, things are fine the way they are. But Nicole's life is about to be turned upside down. Her mother is getting remarried to the man Nicole calls the Mouse. That's bad enough, but when Nicole meets her future stepbrother, Jonathan, that is absolutely too much. Jonathan is just Nicole's age and a troublemaker. It's all too much for anyone, even calm, collected Nicole, to bear. She has no interest in being part of this new family, but no one wants to hear her feelings on the matter. Nicole comes up with a plan, run away to Key West to find her father, But things don't turn out the way she plans, and soon it's up to her best friends, Alicia, Quinn, and Esme, to bring Nicole home before it's too late. Oh, wait. Before it's too late!
Oh, you do love an exclamation point. Okay, yeah. And so even despite, I know, okay, in the back it says, what does it say exactly?
Okay.
After our story.
Watch for the real scoop. First in the Palm Beach Prep series.
Yeah. And this book referenced a lot of other escapades of the girls and shit, right? So it felt like it wasn't the first one.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember. I've only read a couple of the books in this series, and so I didn't really have a big thought on it. But yeah, okay. Here's why it's weird. Lynx Publishing published the first 3 in 1989. The first 3 being New Girl in Town, Stolen Kisses, and Head of the Class, which I do have, and it does say number 3, right? And then Tor put out 6 more books dubbed the second series, but they overlap the numbers. So that's actually book 4. And book 4 of that second series I have is actually book 7, I guess.
Wow.
So yeah.
Okay.
I've never heard of any sort of publishing deal like that.
Wow.
And so yeah, they're the same. They're the same characters. They're all the same, stuff, and they obviously reference other things.
The publisher say this is the one and only, and that publisher says it's the one and only.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's very weird. Anyway, so I think this is one of the lighter ones because some of the others in the series are they have more serious subject. I mean, not that running away, 3 girls running away essentially isn't serious, but there's older boys and nearly going all the way. They're 12. Remember? And
yeah, as I'm reading the book, I keep getting this picture in my head they're 15 to 17, and then I keep getting reminded that they're 11
and 12. Yeah. And then there's super skeezy, gross agent in that one, and yeah. So I think we might read some more of them just because I've forgotten that. And I've read that one and that one. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, so what do you think of it overall?
I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know. I don't know what to think. It was okay, but I mean, their reactions of running away and not telling anybody. I wish there had been a more serious consequence than just, what happens at the end of the story.
Right.
I wish there had been a more serious consequence so that people reading this didn't get it in their head that, hey, maybe that's a good idea for me too.
Yeah.
And I can just get in trucks with strange people and anyway.
It was a lot of infuriating. What? No. I especially imagine as a parent. Could you imagine your kids making these decisions?
Can I
or
don't know
did
if
they? Are you telling me that Megan ran away?
No. She knew she had a choice to be where she wanted to be. So.
Right.
Yeah. She actually, when she was living with me, decided that she wanted to go live with her mom.
Right.
And her mom had changed her ways enough that I felt comfortable enough. But I told her, if there's ever any issues and you need me to come pick you up, it doesn't matter what time of day, what I'm doing, call me. I'll come get you right then.
And she wasn't that far away.
At the time, probably 3 hours.
Oh, that's right. Y'all were down in
3 hours. Yeah.
Liberty. Yeah. Oh, that's right. But still, nobody had to stow away on a boat.
No.
Okay, so what's your rating of this one? One best book ever to dimension.
I guess
being the worst.
5.
Yeah, it's very middle of the road, I think, too. I don't hate anything exactly except for some decisions, but I mean that's just a story. So, but yeah.
Right.
No, there's some things I hate. I'm lying. But anyways,
did you like them, two of them walking out on a play the day of?
We'll get into that. Yeah, the play is very minor in this, but I have a lot of feelings on it, obviously. Okay, so this is centered around a group of 11 and 12-year-olds that go to Palm Beach Prep in Palm Beach, Florida. So that means most of them are very, very rich, except for Quinn, who apparently is not. Has just come to the school. Anyway.
Maybe scholarship.
Yeah. Esme's like this beautiful girl who's a professional model already.
At one point, they described her as she's 11, but she could pass for 15 easy.
Yeah. Gross. And then there's Quinn, who's a scholarship girl, but she's very tough and smart and likes to write. And then there's Nicole, who loves horses, and her family's hella rich. Her parents are divorced, but she's very nice. And then there's Alicia, who is Puerto Rican, and they do not let us forget it. Anyway, so we start with Nicole on the phone with Esme, and Quinn and Alicia are in the background. They're talking about how Nicole doesn't want to go to dinner with her mom and her mom's boyfriend, the mouse, or Adam. And I mean, page 3, I could not handle the writing. All right, these two sentences are right together.
Okay.
Mrs. Whitcomb had some pretty important friends, but Nicole thought they were really boring. Adam wasn't at all like her mother's other friends, who were all pretty important. Are you kidding me with this shit? Anyways, Adam brings his son Jonathan along, who is obviously a bad boy because he wears a leather jacket and a band t-shirt, and he's a bit of a smart ass. And then, he lets it slip he's going to be Nicole's new brother. Because that's right, Nicole's mom and the mouse are getting married, and this was a shitty way to find out about it.
Yes, it was. And everybody else knew except for you. So the dinner was all to break it to you.
Yep.
Right out in the public, so you couldn't have a hissy fit.
Nope. And she doesn't tell anybody how upset she is by this.
Yeah, that's not...
Ever.
That I don't know if is that...
She's unhealthy.
Yeah, is that realistic? I mean, because apparently her and Esme are really good friends, right? Mm-hmm. So you would think as good friends as they were, she would have at least told her. But no, I
tend to wait a while, even with my best friends, to say something if something is big. Because I have to sit with it for a while. But obviously she doesn't just sit with it.
Well, I mean, she kind of does during the play rehearsal.
It's one day.
And she does.
It's one day.
I mean, if nothing else, say, hey, I got some really bad news. Can I just skip out or something? But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but with
And it was, well, okay. Never mind.
Well, I mean, with sixth grade girls, they'll be like, what is it? What's wrong? Are you okay? Why don't you tell me? Well, you don't exactly get a minute.
I guess.
Yeah. So Nicole's dad is some sort of explorer expedition guy on a boat, so she doesn't see him much. But she calls him that night, and he breaks the news that he won't be there for Christmas, which is next week, because of an important science experiment. But he'll be there by New Year's. So this all is a real shitty night for Nicole, but again, she sucks it up and doesn't tell anybody. So, right, this Christmas play. They're rehearsing it the next day. Quinn wrote it. Alicia is directing it. Esme is starring in it. And Nicole has 2 lines. But she can't remember them because she's so upset by all the things she's not telling anyone.
Well, it sounds like she was having trouble remembering her lines even before this.
Oh, really?
From how they're talking. So this is just even worse distraction.
Maybe. I didn't take it that way, but...
Yeah, because it didn't seem a surprise to any of them that she couldn't remember her 2 lines.
Okay, maybe she just sucks. Poor Nicole. Esme's wearing 5 braids in her hair for some reason during rehearsal.
Okay.
I don't know. It just stuck out to me and it bothered me. Yeah, okay. So here's where we really meet Alicia, and she is saying caramba and madre mia all the time.
Yeah.
And I mean, anyway, I don't know how I feel about it because, I mean, mean, it's not unlikely that she would slip some Spanish stuff in, you know?
Right.
It just feels very tokeny and stereotypical. But, I mean...
Yeah, I mean...
I don't really know how I feel about it.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta allow people to speak how they speak.
Yeah, and I mean...
The problem is when you have a
she's
white
Puerto Rican
person
living
that puts
in...
this into
right.
movies and books and stuff, and when it feels forced, but
it felt forced.
It might be that a person does do that because maybe they hear it from their grandmother.
Well, I mean, they're
who lives
living
with them and only speaks that
in
language.
South Florida, so
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's lots of Hispanic and Spanish, spoken there, and
right.
So I don't know. It bothered me. It felt forced. I think that's what it was. But I'm not gonna get on her too much because I mean, like, hell, Jessica doesn't even speak Spanish all that well.
Yeah.
And she and Emily throw in stuff when they're talking at each other. So I don't know. I can't judge it, I guess, but it felt forced. Anyway. So there's another group of girls led by Kara, who they don't like either, of course. The groups don't like each other. And Kara has apparently always gotten the lead in the school play. So she and her friends are like super pissed. So much so. One friend, Patty, accidentally misplaced half the props. Stephanie missed 3 days in a row of rehearsal, and Jessie, as the stage manager, decided not to paint the backdrop until right then, their second to last rehearsal. I would murder them all.
Huh.
So Esme's part is a bag lady, though, so Kara's glad she doesn't have to look like all old and ugly, and she's like, oh, yeah.
She gets to wear a fur coat.
Yeah, she gets to be fancy lady, so it's fine. What's not fine is their headmistress apparently finds this play about a homeless woman seeking shelter in a Palm Beach mansion during a Christmas storm and a long-lost runaway son who turns up on Christmas Eve unsuitable and unsavory.
Well, I mean, she is breaking and entering. Right?
Okay, yeah, but it's part of a play.
Right. Okay, so what I don't understand is this school that allows the entire play to run and be practiced unsupervised by 11 and 12-year-olds.
Yeah, no.
And an adult does not walk in the room until at the very end of the rehearsal.
Yep. That would never happen in real life. Just, no, there's so much. No. Yeah, no. I mean, I had to look past that just because they do that in a lot of books. And I mean, remember Last Act where they had a real gun?
Right.
There were never any adults. At least I don't think there's a gun in this one. But anyway. So, but the headmistress comes in and lets everyone know that thanks to Kara's rich-ass dad, they get a professional makeup artist. And then a cast party at their house, which Kara is super pissed about. She doesn't want all those other girls at her house. Ugh. So the girls debate even going to this party, but then they decide to, just to piss off Kara more.
Just because it's the thing Kara doesn't want.
I mean, I would too. So, yeah, they're all hanging out at Quinn's discussing this, which apparently Nicole is not supposed to be at because Quinn is poor and unsavory.
Right.
But she breaks a rule for that. Go Nicole. She's very proud of herself. But they hear on the news that Nicole's dad's boat, Starry Night, has had some minor engine trouble. And so, because I guess he's a big enough science boy deal for this to make the news. And they'll be docking in Key West for a couple of days. And Nicole realizes she could sneak out of town, catch a bus, and go see her dad. But again, she doesn't tell any of her friends about this super awesome, great plan. And then we learn she's not planning on coming back at all, intending to begin living on her dad's boat. So I'm sure that's fine.
It's going to work out just the way she thinks.
You know it. Her mom's out of town, which...
You know what? Evolutionary brain. They don't... Kids don't think with their prefrontal cortex.
Right, because it's not fully...
the amygdala and the...
I mean, that's a real word, yes.
What they were talking about on Waterboy when he was talking about the game.
Oh my God, did you just reference
that?
Waterboy? I mean, yeah, but not for science purposes, and I haven't seen it in a very long time.
Abdullah Oblongata.
Yes, yeah. That's the thing as well.
Anyway, they think with emotions and not with thought out.
Right, because that's not fully formed until 25. Right. Anyway, so Nicole has mainly been raised by her grandparents because her mom's out of town all the time. Or something. I don't know. She just loved being rich. If we'd read the other books, we'd probably have more of a grasp on it.
She was on a business trip.
Yeah. Was she?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought Esme's mom was on a business thing. A conference or something.
Oh. That
she might have just been shopping.
On one.
Yeah. Anyway. So Nicole leaves a note for her grandparents that she's going to be staying at Esme's for the whole weekend and just takes off. And Esme apparently lives close to the bus station, so Nicole parks her bike in the bushes there, so it'll be safe but hidden, and also loses her scarf that she's got in her hair. And then she takes a very long bus ride. I looked it up on Google Maps, on transit, and it takes 8.5 hours altogether to get from Key West to Miami to get from Palm Beach to Miami to Key West. Man, Key West is like way out there. Yep. Yeah. Anyways, you actually can't just take the bus. You also have to, take the Greyhound. You have to take some other little buses in between. Yeah. But not for very long.
Like city buses.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, 8.5 hours. That's a good haul. So while she's off doing that, Esme gets a call from her agent that morning, and there's a modeling emergency. Oh no. She was supposed to go down to Key West the next weekend for this sassy shoot, referencing a real magazine, which was kind of surprising. But some other blonde model for this weekend got sick. So Esme is needed there ASAP. So screw the play that was so important 2 chapters ago. But
that you're the lead of.
That she is the lead of, but she's like, you know what? I'm a professional and they'll understand. And I mean, it's true. It's a job. She's not getting paid for that stupid 6th grade Christmas play. And plus now Kara was her understudy. So now she has to be the ugly bag woman. Yay. So when Nicole finally gets to Key West, she doesn't know where to go. And runs into this sheriff guy who apparently knows all about this sassy shoot. And he assumes she's a model. He says, "You sure are pretty enough to be a model, but you look a little young."
Well, okay, so at first he thought she was a runaway.
All right.
Because the bus driver had called the police and said...
Yeah, that was weird. That didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, and I don't know why he didn't do that much sooner. They stopped, they had a stop and a bus change in Miami.
Right.
Yeah, anyway. So yeah, and then the creepy police officer's talking about you're pretty.
Well, he's not so much creepy, but that's a creepy thing to say to a kid. But she rolls with that and tells her name is Esme. And yeah, she's a model. And so he shows her the hotel where they're all staying. And so she goes in and she tells them her name is Esme. But then the real Esme comes in. Oh no. So Nicole hides, like you do, from your bestie. And overhears that some other model named Jasmine won't be there till tomorrow. So Nicole tells the not so bright check-in dude that she's Jasmine. Whatever, it works. She has a room for the night. Huzzah. The play goes fine. Quinn had to fill in for Nicole. She was mad about it, but... Okay. Nicole had been like, well, I don't know who my understudy is, but I'm sure it'll be fine. A 2-line part isn't going to have an understudy. Right. But yeah, the writer or director or stage manager or something will fill in for that part. So, but anyways, what really, really bothered me is stupid. They do curtain call backwards. Esme takes the first bow.
Yeah.
And then
gotcha.
4 girls go, and then another 3 girls go.
Right.
It's like, no, that's backwards. Ass backwards?
Bass backwards.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, it really bothered me. And I don't know. So Quinn and Alicia call Nicole's house. And again, apparently they've been doing it throughout the day. And they finally get her grandmother, who says she's with Esme. So they assume Esme took her to Key West, which makes them very mad. Which, sure. They just think she took off for fun. So, yeah. So they go to the party, and Esme calls them there. And they, like, yell at her, and Esme's like, Nicole's not with me. What are you talking about? But she may be at the stables, because Nicole loves these horses, and a horse is about to be born. So, like, that must be it. So off they go there.
Sure enough, there's a car there.
There's a car there. But hold on. They pull up to the school, again with the writing. I have page 79 marked. Do you want to read the part that bothered you?
By the time the bus stopped in front of Palm Beach Prep, it was packed with Christmas shoppers.
Yep.
So I at first was like, why are there Christmas shoppers at Palm Beach Prep? What are people doing there? Mm-hmm. It was packed with Christmas shoppers. Quinn and Alicia pushed their way out and hurried through the wrought iron gates that flanked the school's entrance. Cars still dotted the parking lot, and lights were on in the main building.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's the only way I could read it once you said it. But anyways, yes, the writing instructor is there along with all the shoppers. And the new foal as well, but no Nicole. But the writing instructor's like, oh, I know where she is. She's with her mom. What, with all the wedding plans and everything, which her friends still didn't know about. And they're like, oh, shit. But they play it cool with Candy, the writing instructor. But they leave her. They figured, like, she can't be with her mom because grandma would have said that. So they, like, retrace her steps and find the bike in the bushes at Esme's and the scarf and come to the conclusion that she must have been kidnapped because she's rich as fuck.
It's just like when you hear a sound at night, it has to be a ghost.
Uh-huh.
You find a bike and you find a scarf. Uh-huh. It has to be a kidnapping.
At a friend's house. So back in Key West, Nicole meets a cook at his restaurant thing named Skipper and his parrot, who swears a lot and is very rude, of course. But he's cool. The parrot, Skipper, doesn't swear. He's very polite.
Well, he may, just not in front of her.
Right. But the parrot has no such qualms. And she tells him she tells him that she's looking for Captain Whitcomb to interview because, like, she's part of a school paper. Yeah, that sounds good. He's like, yeah, I can take you there tomorrow. Nobody will be there now. So he offers to give her a ride back to her hotel. She readily agreed, putting all her trust in the old sailor. Cool. Good decision, Nicole. I mean, he's very nice, but oh my God.
There's never been a nice serial killer.
No, never.
It just doesn't happen.
On the way back, she sees Esme on a corner on a payphone. And she's like, oh shit, this is a small place. It's going to be hard to hide. So Quinn and Alicia are back at Alicia's place. And they're trying to decide whether to call the police. Since, she's been kidnapped and shit. But Esme calls. And so they tell her that they think Nicole's been kidnapped. And Esme thinks that's, that can't be true. Until she yells that she has been kidnapped in a truck with a parrot. Because she saw them. And then literally leaves Quinn and Alicia hanging. So they come to the conclusion that Nicole's dad came and kidnapped her. It's all very confusing. And if they could go talk to her in person, they could convince her to come back home. So early the next morning, off to Key West, they go. So Esme obviously couldn't catch up with that truck, and so she'd been up all night worrying, but she goes and does her work the next day anyway. wearing a cute miniskirt version of a sailor suit, attracting a lot of attention from people watching the shoot. Again, she's 12.
Right. And like a little later, it talks about sailors.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah. But she has a break from shooting, so she saunters to a vending machine, and she sees Nicole with that guy again. This time he's leading her by the arm. So she follows him, and she loses sight of the old guy, but she sees Nicole go down the hatch of a boat. So, of course, Esme follows her down there, too. And before she can call for Nicole, she has to hide from some sailors, and then the boat starts and pulls away from the dock. Ta-da-da. Quinn and Alicia get to Key West, find the sassy chute. Apparently, it's super easy on this small island. And, oh shit, there's a ton of cops there. Because the adults at the chute, at least, have noticed Esme missing right away. Thank you. The girls listen in and hear the chaperone and that sheriff guy talking. And there's apparently a bit of confusion as to whether Esme is blonde or brunette, like Nicole, since
right.
That's how Nicole introduced herself to the sheriff. Then they spot the skipper and ask if he's seen either girl. And he's like, oh, yeah. I was going to show Nicole to the boat. That boat that's leaving right now. And Quinn actually tells the chaperone and sheriff what's up when they turn up. Thank God somebody makes a responsible decision. Finally. And that Esme's probably with her. Oh, no. So they find... Nicole and Esme find each other down in the storage hatch area. It's dark. But Esme's about to be seasick, so she's groaning, and it sounds gross.
And sneezing, because apparently she's allergic to burlap.
I mean... Yeah. I mean, it's flaky material.
I didn't know there was a specific burlap allergy.
She's probably not allergic to it, but it, like, rubs off. I get it. But anyway, she runs onto the deck. Nicole right behind her. She's like, you're going to ruin my life. And they surprise the whole crew up on deck, obviously. And Nicole's dad tells everyone to head back to port because they're going to be there for a few days now. And Nicole's like, no. He takes her off to talk to her, leaving Esme with the rest of the crew. From the sounds of the laughter up on deck, she could tell Esme was already feeling better. A ship full of very handsome sailors sure could work wonders. Gross. She's 12. Gross. And apparently she's charming them. So Nicole tells her dad about all the things. Finally, telling someone fucking something. And asks if she can live on the boat with him. And he says no, of course. Maybe in a few years. But, hi, you're in 6th grade. You need to stay on land and in school. So they get back to the dock with a million people waiting there. Cops, sassy people, Alicia, and a pissed off Quinn. She's still mad at Esme for literally leaving them hanging the night before, which, fair. But whatever, it's fine. Esme gets back to work right then and there. Because the photographer's like, oh, hey, this is a great spot. Fix your hair and makeup. Let's go. And so, behind the photographer, a crowd of very cute guys was whistling, grinning, and making fools of themselves, trying to attract Esme's attention. I doubt that's a bunch of 12-year-old boys.
No.
It's not what it sounded like. She's 12. Oh, my God. So Nicole's dad takes the others back to Palm Beach, and he and her mom get into a really big fight in front of everybody, including Mouse and Jonathan, who's there for some reason. Then Quinn stands up and yells at everyone that nobody's actually talking or listening. This isn't a discussion, it's a fight. And that, of course, kind of calms them down and everything's fine, basically. There are going to be new visiting arrangements. Huzzah. And Nicole's mom, kind of respects Quinn now, even though she's poor, which is great. And that's pretty much it.
Nice.
Yeah. So, yeah, a bunch of bad decisions.
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine sneaking off on a Greyhound when I was 12.
A couple of them got grounded.
Oh, yeah. Quinn,
for a month
I think.
and 2 months.
Yeah, got her, allowance cut in half, and Alicia's grounded for 2 months. Yeah. That's it. Apparently, Nicole's not in any trouble. Which, I mean, fine, but get her a therapist. She's not dealing with her feelings well at all. And yeah, Jonathan is like inserting little quips and stuff in there, and he's annoying Quinn, but Alicia's like, hey, he's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Things aren't going to be boring with him around. So yeah, that's the book. Do you want to read any of the other ones?
No.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as some of the ones we've read. So.
Yeah. Girls aren't as annoying as others.
I mean,
that we know of so far.
I mean, yeah, they're annoying, but
not as bad as
Quinn seemed okay.
Christy she was the angriest girl.
Well, she was the one who actually talked back to him.
That's true.
And she's the one who wrote the play. And...
Right. Okay, so what you been reading?
Let's see. I finished Nixia Uprising, which was the last in that series. I think it's the last. It was in the last in the trilogy, at least. Pretty good. Liked it. George R.R. Martin's A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, which takes place 100 years before Game of Thrones.
Did he actually write this?
He did. He wrote it in 2015, I think it was.
So when he should have been writing the next... Why did he do this?
I don't know if he was waiting to see where the shows went, or if he just didn't feel it. You know, he needed
a break from what he's currently doing. And
right.
Yeah.
And he went back and started a prequel series, which this was apparently the first of.
That's infuriating for the book readers, I imagine.
And it pretty much centered on a hedge knight, and he ends up meeting Aegon Targaryen. And through things that happened, Aegon becomes his squire. And he travels around the countryside with Aegon as his squire. And basically, Aegon's older brothers were, they both acted like they were very privileged and didn't have to do much work, but one was a real cocky asshole, and the other one just liked to drink. And
there's lots of that in Westeros.
So basically, when he's talking to his dad about it, he's like, well, he was talking about, well, what are you going to do for places to stay? And he's like, well, we'll just sleep under the stars. And he's like, well, Aegon's a prince. And he's like, well, you're so-and-so and so-and-so. It doesn't seem like they've ever had to sleep out under the stars. And then that kind of made his dad pause. Anyway, so, they end up, I'm not going to tell the series because a lot of people will probably read it. But I liked it. I enjoyed it. I'll read more. The one I'm reading currently is The Elephant in the Brain. And it's basically just talks about different aspects of evolutionary psychology and how the brain evolved and stuff. And there's a couple things I've learned so far from it that were pretty cool. One was the whole first part was talking about trying to figure out how people are able to lie to themselves and why people lie to themselves. Cognitive dissonance. Yes. And how we're able to, even when there are clues that we're wrong, are still able to keep it in our, in ourselves that know we're right. And it comes down to the fact that evolutionarily it is advantageous for people to be able to lie and deceive. And as our brains have developed, we've gotten better at determining when we're being lied to and when we're being deceived.
Sure.
Through, especially through seeing micro expressions and how, well, eye contact, blushing, things like that. Well, as we've gained the ability to fool ourselves, we're able to fool others without them seeing those clues because we don't give them off because we think they're true.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so it was talking about like, well, why wouldn't you want to know when you're wrong or when something is false? And basically, it may not be advantageous for us to know. Like talking about groups in politics and religion specifically.
Yikes.
If you were to question and say something is false, it would not be advantageous to you to be in a group that did.
Right.
And so...
Because you could get kicked out of the pack.
And it basically talks about primates and other animals and how once these things happen, they get kicked out of the group, and then that's it. That's pretty much it for them.
Right.
And it's the same for humans. And so that was very interesting to learn about that. And then the chapter I'm listening to right now is talking about why we laugh. And it's basically it's a play expression, and it's meant to convey that you're not being serious. Like, let's say somebody jumps out at you and scares you, and your immediate reaction is to tense and get ready to fight or flight. But if they start laughing immediately, you understand that it's play, and then and it's not as serious. It's that way with a lot of things, and there are a lot of other primates and other animals, even reptiles, that make play expressions.
Right. I've told you that's why dogs do that sneeze while they're playing.
Oh yeah.
That's the signal they're not being serious with each other. Yeah.
They were talking about how chimpanzees do it. Sometimes it's just like wiggling your arms because there's no reason to do it, and then it lets them know that it's a nonsense thing. Another
and it
thing,
makes everybody laugh.
Another thing they do is they'll turn around and bend over and look at the other chimpanzees through their legs.
And it makes everyone laugh.
and that tells them that they're not being serious. So even when you're like play fighting, you don't have to really like get into a mode of I may die in this way. Right. And it when it was talking about also with the being able to lie and stuff, there are different ways of lying and different reasons. I forget what most of them were, but there was one. It was talking about like the crazy lie, and it's meant to convey to other people that you're not mentally unstable, that you're mentally unstable, and will do things that are even harmful to yourself in order to harm them. And they were given examples. One was like Nixon saying that if the Russians think we're crazy, then then we have leverage from the nuclear standpoint. And like people playing chicken, and if you act like you're crazy, and you're basically lying to them that you would even harm yourself in order to win at something, and that makes the other person know that they're either going to come into a lot of harm or they're going to get out of your way.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been a lot of interesting stuff with it so far. Like it. I'll tell you the name. Did I tell you the name of it?
Yeah, The Elephant in the Brain.
The Elephant in the Brain. It's basically a couple people. They're doing a thesis together.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
That's basically what they're doing. And with those books, the previous two, I've reached my goal for the year.
Oh, very nice.
Of 78 books in a year.
Right.
And I think I've only counted like 2 or 3 of these books.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know where I am. I set only a 52 book goal. One a week. And I'm going to beat that. I don't think I'm there yet, though. I am at 48. Okay.
Yeah,
so
close.
And that's not counting any of these.
Right.
So, yeah. But right. So for me, I have a couple more chapters left. So Here's the Thing, the Alyssa Mastromonaco book. Because, I mean, they're separate essays, so I've been just, like, reading some,
Gotcha.
you know, in between fiction stuff. So I read Yesternight by Kat Winters, and man, I wanted to like this book. I really did. It's about this woman psychologist in 1925. So she's like in a very difficult field. And she can't go get a PhD.
Right.
You know, or they're telling her she shouldn't. But so what she's doing is going around to different schools as a psychologist and like testing, you know, kids at schools and stuff to make sure they're where they should be and okay and
experiments
stuff.
And
and I mean there's like
data.
Which
was something you could
they
do.
They named the test that they had, you know, that was like a standard and stuff. That was probably real. I didn't look it up. But anyway, she comes to this one town and meets Janie O'Dare. She's 7 and she's like this mathematical genius. But she also tells disturbing stories that her name was once Violet and she grew up in Kansas and drowned at the age of 19. Pretty much only her family knows about these stories, but her dad really wants Alice, the psychologist, to see if she can figure out what's up and if the stories are real. So Alice delves into this and, you know, she just thinks it's her imagination, but slowly she comes to realize that, oh, Janie might be right. And so it becomes a whole like mystery thing by then. And I like the Janie story and all that. But 2/3 of the way, 3/4 of the way, that's done. And all that almost is all gone. And so we continue with Alice because this was bringing up some memories every once in a while for her. Something feels weird. But then all that third act, it's just like really unsatisfying ending, and like it's trying to make that whole last bit like creepier than it actually is, and rushed, and I don't know. I wanted to like it. It was a cool setting, it was a cool concept. But yeah. I give it 2 stars. Yeah. It might have been 2.5. But anyways. So I just started Jeeves in the Offing. P.G. Wodehouse book. I've never read any P.G. Wodehouse, even though like I've heard that they're really funny and good. I just never read them before. So yeah, there was a whole bunch at the library and so okay, here's my cute story. I told you this when it happened, but I was looking through them and I had this one in my hand, and this like 14-year-old boy, he had like come up, you know, looking at the books on the same shelves, and he saw me looking at it and got really excited. He's like, do you like the Jeeves books? And I was like, I've never actually read any P.G. Wodehouse before. And he's like, oh, they're so good. They're so funny. And he was just like so invested in this. And I was like, well, okay, cool. I was like, do you have to read them in any order? And he goes, no, I really don't think so. This is the 12th book, though. The Jeeves. So I might have asked him what I should have started with. Because apparently this Jeeves guy, this butler, isn't even in this book very much, except in like the first 2 chapters, then he's off on vacation. Yeah. So I'm not really getting a full sense of what the series is. But it is very funny so far, but I'm like 3 chapters in. I just started last night, so but yeah. I could have used some more direction, kid. Yeah. But I was still delighted that this 14-year-old was just like so passionate.
He was passionate about the series, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. About an old series, you know. Like,
is it old?
Yeah, I think this one was written in 60. Yes, 60. Yeah. Anyway, so anything else from you? No? Mm-hmm. You're done here. Okay.
I'm done.
Okay. So thanks for listening, everybody. I did a real bad job this week promoting our new Facebook group.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I was really tired this weekend, and we had your kids, and yeah. So yeah, but we started a Facebook group. So please come join it. It's just Fighting Over the Card Catalog. Search for us, and the link is out there at places. But
and I actually go on Facebook, so I'll actually
yeah, if you want to interact with Steven, he's actually on the Facebook. It's the only place he is. That's right. You're too old. For the other places, such as Instagram, Tumblr, YouTube, Pinterest, Fighting Over the Card Catalog, at all of them, including Facebook. And on Twitter. He's on Twitter, but he never goes on it. We're Card Catalog Pod on there, and I'm Jess Digress. And rate us and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts and all your other podcast places. And, let all your friends know on whatever social medias you're on. Or in person. Whoa. I know it's scary talking to people in person, but you could. And tell them how great we are. Anyways, next book is going to be Babysitter's Club number 10. Logan Likes Mary Ann. Are you so psyched? Nope. You're looking at me like, you're so lucky I love you. I just picked out all our spoopy books for October.
All right.
And I'm very excited. We're reading the books of your childhood.
So you don't have to.
Bye, everybody.
Shake Yo Moneymaker.
Gross.